Hey guys, and welcome! Today we're going back to old school Warhammer 2. Going to be a fun scrap between the mighty forces of the High Elves and the Skaven. And all round Shadow Warriors haven't had the best history or life. Their country is ravaged by war, the Dark Elves have betrayed them, and now they are vengeance incarnate, floating around the battlefield, seeking death upon their enemies. And the Grey are the kind of leaders of those troops, and going to be looking to try to bring justice to the force of the Skaven. Alas for them, their history is about to get a lot worse. This is not a good tale for the Shadow Warriors, but a bad one, so let's delve into this. Should be a good fun game. Traore is leading the forces of the High Elves up against JP and their Skaven legions. Got a few more Shadow Warriors down here, accompanied by some Illyrian Reavers. There's more Reavers in the trees in the back. We then have the Rahaga's Pride, one of the most bad-to-the-bones, cool-looking units they've ever done in a Total War game. And then we have a mixture of Rangers and White Lions making up the main battle line. Up in the skies with a Flamespire Phoenix alongside an Archmage. I love the red tint to her mount coming in, of course, suiting that fire magic. Coming in with the Burning Head as well as Fireball. I don't think Burning Head's going to be quite as powerful in Total War Warhammer 3. We'll have to wait and see, but Fireball is always going to be good. Sniping out enemy commanders. Skaven Generals, of course, are very squishy, but also taking away artillery crews is going to be quite useful. We do have the mighty Deathmaster Snickich himself, one of my favourite lords in the game. Very cool. Rolling dirty alongside the Assassin. I must admit that the Assassin models maybe look a little bit cooler. I don't know, the dagger on the tail is pretty badass, but either way, these guys can fight for my love, so double assassins leading the battle charge. In the main battalion, it is going to be a just bucket ton of rotten flesh and smelly Skaven slaves dotted all the way along. Looks like we have some more elite troops in the back, though. We have the Council Guard, Regiment Round Storm Vermin, alongside Itic's Zap Zap, the Regiment Round Warp Lightning Cannon, Pitfires of Hell's Deep, then even more just scraps on the side in the form of Clan Rat Spears. Now, this is where the Grey's Day gets really bad. So, someone didn't hide their units fully in the trees, and this is what happens. We have a roving pack of chattering and gnarly wolf rats combined here with double brood horror. This is not going to go whatsoever for those Greys. So the Illyrian Reavers probably at this point honestly just want to get out of here. Float round the side, get back to your army and try and save some value. Instead, they're going to do the much more brave option of trying to take the enemy roving hordes head on and support the Grey in their final moments. But the brood horrors are simply going to move through and start devouring High Elves left, right and centre. The Reavers are already butchered, and now the Vanguard is going to go down as well. So a pretty much disaster start for High Elves, losing one of their most expensive centerpieces to their army, as well as some Reavers as well. Looks like in the distance we have even more wolf rats lurking in the trees. The Assassins have moved forward a little bit. They got concealment bombs popped, just trying to get a scope of the enemy. There are Shadow Warriors moving through the trees, rather stealthy-like. They, of course, are going to have to now add some more names to reap vengeance across the enemy. We'll have to see if they can avenge the Grey, who have just been absolutely butchered. You can see in the back the Skaven player in quite a decent situation. Now, one Warp Lightning Cannon has been taken down. Of course, that was from a Fireball from the Archmage, which is always a good play here. Itic Zap Zap still got a decent amount of punch. Really wants to start focusing down these single entities as much as possible. The High Advance has stalled a little bit. Looks like they're probably trying to micro their way out of the disaster in the trees. They are now moving their Rahaga's Pride around the flanks. Reavers as well, pushing aggressively forward. Interesting choice here. Trying to chase back the Deathmaster and Assassin. They do drive them back to the friendly kind of army here for a bit of protection, but then they're going to instantly turn around and push back as the Reavers do indeed fall back. Now, the Archmage going to float out to this flank. Rahaga's Pride is nearby with the Shadow Warriors. That's no small feat to overcome these brave troops. Fireball does come in. Looks like it is going to be once again aiming at Itic Zap Zap, which is starting to get its eye in a little bit better, but it's missed the majority of its shots. Luckily there, that Fireball does not destroy an artillery piece. We still have two fully operational, and a couple of shots are once again going to be starting to get laced down range, and they finally connect. The Archmage taking significant damage. And on the right-hand side, we've got another bold engagement. Rahaga's Pride being used as bait to drag in the Wolf Rats and try to get them into position that the Shadow Warriors can assist and perhaps win. I would love to see their Roar being used right now because Wolf Rats have pretty poor leadership, and here it goes. Look at that, instantly snap off the wrist. Two units of break straight away. The third one not looking too good. The Rangers do dive in with their dual-wielding swords, and all of a sudden, all the Wolf Rats are running. Going to leave the Brood Horrors exposed and alone. Lovely play there by the High Elf player. Rangers are darting in, dual sword wielding like crazy maniacs of legends. Doing some pretty decent work. White Lions as well are coming in with some awesome swing animations, using their axes to drag down the enemy. But wherever you look, there's just more and more rats. Pure Main Company in their glorious colour scheme going to continue to push through here and try to do some decent damage. Backline is still actually actually a little bit vulnerable. So we have 2 Rangers overlapping the right-hand flank alongside some Illyrian Reavers. Pitfires can only be in so many locations at one time. Warp Lightning Cannon is repositioning here, but it's in dangerous territory. The Archmage is starting to pop some fireballs towards Snickich, doing some massive damage there. I love that play. Fireballing him down is going to be a good one for sure. Now, the tree fight is getting desperate. We can see the Brood Horrors did not give up when their Wolfrat counterparts fled and sacked. They asked for reinforcements. Clan Rats are pushing forward. We do, however, have the Flamespire Phoenix getting in here, doing some decent damage to the Brood Horrors, who are not going to like fire whatsoever. As you can see, they are a little bit flammable here. So the Shadow Warriors are being forced back though eventually. Warp Lightning Cannon's been really bad. It's not been connecting well at all. And I think the Skaven player has forgotten their battle plan to sit back and defend this artillery piece. Half their army has advanced, overconfident in their earlier success in taking down the enemy and looking to punish those Shadow Warriors. They've gone to a fight in the trees, which maybe they are just about winning. Shadow Warriors are now terrified and being forced back, so it's good that they've got this advantage, but it has left the rest of their build rather isolated and open. Zap Zap is going to be going down here. However, the Council Guard are holding back the tides of White Lions with a summon of Plague Monks, which is a beautiful play there. Those guys are going to be some big damage dealers. Pitfires of Hell's Deep are bound and in explosions of Budden and Warpstone to curse our air. Big fat Burning Head comes down the line though, and oh my god, that was disgusting. That was rank. The Council Guard was so healthy, and they just get butchered. They are going to come with another summon to try to shore up the lines. It does look pretty bad so far for the High Elves, so they are scrapping their way back into the game. Down here, it looks like some Wolf Rats have rallied and come back. Shadow Warriors are probably doomed. They've been led by giant Brood Horrors. Elsewhere, Shadow Warriors were able to escape, though. 43 models is certainly no joke. They are going to start unleashing shots now into the rear of this Skaven blob. And blob like this could be quite problematic. Now, they need to use their numbers, of course, which is their advantage to take down these Rangers. With a Flamespire Phoenix afoot, though, as well as some ranged troops, they are really going to be punished. Now, the Pitfires of Hell's Deep have found themselves a little isolated here. We have 49 Council Guard left fighting. White Lions are forced back, but we have Reavers in here. We have Rangers, Flamespire Phoenix, plus a scary Archmage. They're all jumping on top of this little Plague Priest who's trying his hardest to stay in the game. But if you can take out the Skaven casters, half the fight is already won. Taking away their summons is so crucial. Particularly if you can do it early. Now, this is a kind of more of a mid-game situation, but better late than never. Archmage has been on fire today. Flamespire Phoenix doing decent work as well. Pitfires of Hell's Deep are now isolated, and they do not want to be fighting infantry unsupported. Balance power, though, is still in favour of Skaven. In the far distance, we have some Brood Horrors who are going to be coming back after chasing away enemy routing troops. Deathmaster and the Clan Rats, as well as the Assassin, are moving over now into an aggressive position. Shadow Warriors are continuing to kite and shoot. They're scooting their boot whilst popping some shots, and the Brood Horror is vomiting on them, trying his best to break them around. It looks like they may indeed break. They're getting terrified here, and I expect the Brood Horror to finish them off most likely, though he may be needed back a little bit earlier to protect the infantry from this single entity kind of danger. Another fireball is going to be coming in. Deathmaster does a cheeky roly-poly, but still gets clipped. His tail is on fire, his arse is on fire, and he is not having a good day whatsoever. He's been trying to ally himself alongside his assassin and move over here to support the Pit Fighters and Council Guard, who are really on their last legs now. The Pure Main Company, veterans of many a war, are moving forward. Blood of friend and foe soaking their line mains here, but continue to push, they shall do. And it's looking pretty good for them actually in the middle now. Now, Banspell's really hating the High Elves, but I think it's not all terrible. Deathmaster can be sniped over a long duration due to the Archmage's presence, and the Flamespire Phoenix is going to counter the Brood Horrors relatively successfully, and you can see one Brood Horror is getting dragged miles away from the battle by this unit of Shadow Warriors. Probably wants to get up the chase and come back to support, otherwise this is going to happen. His units will get isolated and picked apart due to the good micro and speed of the High Elf Legions. Wolf Rats do pop on top of the Flamespire, it's in trouble, but bam, yet another Burning Head comes down the line. Look at the damage, it just instantly breaks those Wolf Rats, who actually they're terrified here, and once again it leaves the Brood Horror a little isolated and stuck. He's doing great work to that Flamespire Phoenix, just about to take the BC down. Will it get its rebirth? It's gonna break here, maybe it will not. Brood Horror is able to survive, and all of a sudden things are looking really bad once again for the High Elves. Now this Flamespire needs to come back, and it needs to get its healing proc, I think, to have a good chance for the High Elves. Fireballs, though, are continuously mounting a bigger and bigger threat to the Deathmaster. Look at that hit, down to 191 HP. He's not having a good day, though. There is an assassin nearby, so losing his lord maybe wouldn't be the worst thing, as he still has a compadre to lead the battle. Charge Brood Horror is moving over as well. The other Brood Horror is still chasing those Shadow Warriors, which I think at this point is probably a mistake. We have 7 Pitfires of Hell's Deep who can return to a big rear attack into the Pure Main Company would be great. The Deathmaster does indeed go down. We can see his sad little carcass on the ground. It's a sad day indeed to see the the mighty Deathmaster himself failed in such a manner. Flamesfire Phoenix is still routing. I really think it needs to come back. Big Fireball does go down the line, attempting to hit the Assassin. Doesn't do that much work, although imagine if it was hitting the Brood Horror, and it looks like the Brood Horror is going to break here. Pure Main Company just about standing firm. Pitfires are going to move in to help deal with the enemy, but the fact that Pure Main Company are going to be giving that Guardian bonus to the Archmage, he is laughing like a maniac, just charging in, spitting insults in the eyes of the Skaven, and allowing the otherwise grand kind of essence of the High Elves just goes straight into the dustbin, and he's letting loose his feral side, charging into hand-to-hand combat and ripping Skaven apart left, right and centre. Pure Main Company is doing decent work as well. Pitfires of Hell's Leap are slowly starting to go down. I think they've been a bit of an MVP, actually, the Pure Main Company. Flamesfire Phoenix is on the way, whereas that Brood Horror, it is trotting back as fast as it can do. I think it's been out of the fight a little while too long. Imagine if you had two Brood Horrors fighting here in the middle instead of just the one, jumping on the Flamesfire Phoenixes and Archmage. I think it would have been a decent position. Pure Main Company are finally felled. We do get some fire poops being dropped by the Flamesfire Phoenix, doing some decent work there. Rangers are moving in as well, but I think realistically, I mean, the Bansfire absolutely hates the High Elves. I really don't think it's that bad. Flamesfire Phoenix plus Archmage, goon out that Assassin, what you got to lose? And I guess you really want to use that Winds of Magic. We're not quite sure how much they have, but then the Flamesfire Phoenix arises from the ashes. Rather kind of a bit lackluster there. Normally has an animation where it flies into the sky, but it was like, nah, I'm here to do my job. It's my 9 to 5, and I'm looking just to grind it out a little bit. So he's just going to be vibing and taking out the Assassin. In fact, tear out and Balance of Power has swooped massively back towards the middle due to the HP boon of the Flamesfire Phoenix, and I think that may seal the deal. The Brood Horror can only go toe-to-toe for so long. If the Assassin is able to fight, that'd be massive. I'd really like to see the Archmage assassinate the Assassin and force him off the battlefield, although gooning the Brood Horror is not a bad idea whatsoever. And it looks like the Brood Horror is going to be going down. I don't think he's got the morale to stick in this fight. Just as the Assassin gets here, the High Elf player gonna fall back with the Archmage, avoiding the Assassin's trophies. Lovely play, and that is going to be GG. That was a hell of a comeback by the High Elf player. I think the Skaven player played the early game really well, and then got a little bit too excitable. He's like, okay, I've done so good, and then pushed forward aggressively, switching his army into 2 parts, and because of that, he wasn't able to protect the Warp Lightning Cannon, and he then, like, you know, the High Elf player used his mobility to abuse the single entities, which needed to fight together to fend off the Archmage, as well as the Flamesfire Phoenix. Maybe there's a chance here for the Brood Horror, but I don't see it at all, and there he goes, he breaks, and that's going to force army losses. Very well played to Traore as well as a JP there. Pretty damn awesome game. Really sad to see the Grey probably in their saddest ever game. Just basically no kills, no damage value. They were meant to be the ones striking from the shadows. Instead, the shadows struck them back, and they didn't enjoy that whatsoever. Hygris Pride as well, unfortunately, uses more sacrificial lamb, so a unit I enjoy quite a bit. I really like the Pure Main Company. Only 868 value on them, but they got 155 kills, and they were just a perfect anvil for the 2 flies to strike against. And I think they were actually secretly MVPs. 1.3k on the Flamesfire Phoenix and 3.8k value on the Archmage of Fire. Really lovely stuff. Deathmaster just couldn't get going, neither could Assassin Bros. I thought the Pitfires were in combat a long time. 1.4 value on them, 1.4 and 1k on the Brood Horrors doing decent work. And the Wolf Rats, 1,500 values, really nice, but the others were a little bit more lackluster. I hope you guys enjoyed this game. If you did, make sure to leave a big fat juicy thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content into the future. Feel free to leave a comment down below what you thought of the battle, what was your favourite moment, and all that good stuff. I really do enjoy reading through the comments. And there's a load of links down below in the description. Twitch, where I do occasional extra streams. Patreon, where you can support the channel. Massive shout out, by the way, to my Patreons and YouTube members who keep the channel afloat. And there's also a link down below to my Discord, where you can get involved in live streams and events, as well as submitting replays, just like Troy did here today. Until next time, guys, peace, and as always, stay awesome.